But what do some of us do? We look outside ourselves, we go to talks, we spend time searching, rather than just being still. To stop what needs to be done and just be. To go inside. Listen to that tiny, weeny voice, the one inside. It knows. And hold it and be it. Move to a different level of mind. Let the inner TV show you what needs to be seen. Look at developing your mindful awareness, mindful observation. Look at your inner eye. Look with your intuitive understanding. Be in the moment of intuition, the moment of trusting yourself, which is really trusting God, since God as me. Anne Murphy Paul wrote, "Human eyesight might seem straightforward. The eye receives messages, the brain processes them, but we actually have two vision tracks, one conscious, the other intuitive. And as a result, the eye sees far more than we generally realize. For instance, in a phenomenon known as blind sight, people who have gone blind because of brain damage can still navigate an obstacle or identify emotion on a person's face, even though they can't consciously see it. Their intuitive vision track is receiving visual stimuli, even though their conscious vision track isn't. They know what's around them. They just don't know how they know." Ernest Holmes does. Soul expansion, a place that knows and knows that it knows. This may paraphrase the thoughts of Albert Einstein on mindfulness. He said, "The intuitive mind is a sacred gift, and the rational mind is a faithful servant. We have created a society that honors the servant and has forgotten the gift." Sometimes a corporate mandate or groupthink or one's desire to produce a certain outcome can cause the rational mind to go in the wrong direction, away from the gift. And at times like these, it is intuition that holds the power to save you. That bad feeling, that gnawing away at you, is your intuition telling you that no matter how badly you might wish to talk yourself into going in that direction, it's the wrong way to go. Wise people listen to those feelings. And the most wise among us, the ones who make great intellectual leaps forward, do this by harnessing the power of intuition. Gerd Gigerenzer, author of the book Gut Feelings, The Intelligence of the Unconscious, says, "In my scientific work, I have hunches. I can't explain always why I think a certain path is the right way, but I need to trust it and go ahead. I also have the ability to check these hunches and find out what they are about. That's the science part. Now, in private life, I rely on instinct. For example, when I first met my wife, I didn't do computations, nor did she. He is both intuitive and rational. Now, when I met my wife, Heather, I didn't do computations. She did. I'm more intuitive, she's more rational. But my intuition has not failed me in my marriage. And yet, at times, I have ignored, to my detriment, that small inner voice that guides me, more than I would like to admit. I have ignored it because in business decisions and other relationships, and more importantly, in my own soul expansion. Specifically, I have ignored my faith in God, in great universe. I have believed, but failed to tap into the flow of spirit. I have done this by ignoring my feelings, or that tiny, quiet voice, or stayed married to beliefs that were not even mine. Thank goodness I continue to grow closer to my intuition. The evidence is in my work as a spiritual coach, as a chakra therapist, as a sound healer, and as a Reiki master. So many times I am told by my clients, my migraine is gone, my backache is gone, my worry is gone. And invariably I'm asked, how did you know where to place your hands? And the answer is, I don't know. But apparently, my soul knows. Sophie Burnham, best-selling author of The Art of Intuition, says, I define intuition as the subtle knowing without ever having any idea why you know it. It's different from thinking. It's different from logic or analysis. It's a knowing without knowing. It's my intuition that guides me, and I trust it. With Reiki, sometimes it's a thought, but more often it's a feeling. Steve Jobs called intuition more powerful than intellect, and I agree. When I drop into the zone of intuition, it seems to take much less effort to get to the heart of the matter than intellectualizing information, and that is powerful. But I've not always trusted those feelings. There have been many disruptors to trusting them. I learned to go straight to self-doubt. But as I have recovered from those disruptions, I have become adept at hearing the intuitive thought and feeling. Moreover, not only can I recognize the intuition, but I actually act on it. Recently, I had a soulful growth spurt. It was brought on by a retreat that I had led called Discovering, Exploring, and Nurturing the Child Within. Now, I created this retreat with great love and reverence for the inner child and the participants, and they really seemed to get a lot out of that experience. And although I didn't do the retreat, I created it and I led it. A few weeks later, the retreat did me. A long-forgotten memory arose. And once accessed, I realized the experience 50 years ago ruined my life. In terms of group interaction and friendships with women, and naturally, my relationship to myself. I processed it. I wept. I talked about it. And the soulful experience of my intuitive self, capital S, presented itself through that memory. It was proper in its timing and its content. I was in a place in my life that I was able to articulate, to feel, to accept the consequences of that remembrance. And after that, I felt renewed. Something was lifted. I had greater clarity. So what keeps us from using more of our intuition? My observation and understanding of clients, especially as a chakra therapist, has brought me to see that we ignore our bodies. And those persons who have had wounding or trauma shy away from getting into their bodies. That's where the wounding happened, or where it lodged itself. But when they trustingly go there, the body unlocks the distortion that keeps them from trusting their intuition. So let me give you a brief outline of the 7 major chakras, or energy centers of the body. And I think this will lay the groundwork for understanding how intuition can flow more freely. So chakra means disc, or more specifically, a globe of energy. And these chakras store and release experiences in one's life. And each of these chakras have a location and a particular function in the stages of human development. And roughly they are, the first chakra is the root, and that's located at the base of the spine. It develops in the womb to about 6 months. And when the infant is given all that it needs, including being held enough, the baby knowing it's safe, stability and security are established. In other words, the mother or the caregiver provides grounding for the child to find its own grounding. The demon of this chakra is fear. The second chakra, the sacral, located just above the root chakra, like across the hip area, the area of reproduction, develops from 6 months to 2 years. The ability to create is developed there. Now think of a toddler who reaches into its diaper and pulls out the poop to show anyone who will look at it. Now in my case, I took it out and I smeared it on the wall for my mother to see how wonderfully creative I was. Right, now this is an experience that can hinder or ruin a child's experience of feeling creative and free to express itself. So if the guardian scolds or shames the little one, its viewpoint will be harmed, and therefore the sacral chakra becomes charged. The demon of this chakra is guilt. The third chakra is the solar plexus, just above the navel, and that's from 18 months to about 3.5 years of age. And this chakra is about one's will or purpose. It's the place in your gut where you get butterflies. It collapses when your energy is low. Now, there's only soft tissue here. There's no bone to protect it. So the backbone is required to hold oneself upright or to be willing to stand up for oneself in the face of conflict. And the demon of this chakra is shame. The fourth chakra is the heart, the center of the chest. This develops from 3.5 years to 7 years of age. And this is the field of universal love and self-acceptance. It is literally the center of our being. 3 chakras below and 3 chakras above. The chakras of matter below and the chakras of spirit. This is where they combine, in the heart. And unlike the third chakra of will, of doing, this is the fourth chakra of being. We begin to widen our opening to giving and to receiving. Yet effort and will is needed to arrive at a state of being. The author of Western Body, Eastern Mind, Anadia Judith, says, just like climbing a mountain, it's necessary to get to the top, where we take off our pack, relax, and enjoy being there. When the third chakra has done its work, the heart chakra is supported in its opening. And the demon of the fourth chakra is grief. The fifth chakra, the throat, is at the base of the throat, develops from 7 to 12 years of age. And this fifth chakra is about self-expression, communication, speaking one's truth, being heard. But how can one speak one's truth if you don't know what your purpose and your will is? Our body, our mouth, shapes breath and vibration into sounds guided by our thoughts and our will, and this is how we express. And lies are the demon of the fifth chakra. The third eye, the sixth chakra, develops from 12 years of age and above, the center of the head at eyebrow level. Its purpose is seeing, intuition, and wisdom. It is the luminescent command center. This is where we find our way through improved intuition, through clarity, wisdom, and vision. The demon of this chakra is illusion. The seventh chakra, the crown, early adulthood and beyond, at the top of the head. Its purpose is awakening, understanding, enlightenment. And this comes through thought and consciousness. Its orientation is self-knowledge. Think of all the things your unconscious and conscious can do. To think, to remember, to cook, to express, to dress, to follow computer code, to drive a car and read a book or write a book. The demon of this chakra is attachment and ignorance. So beginning at the root chakra we begin to build a foundation that supports the upper chakras. And there are those who believe what helps develop intuition is listening to the quiet voice, taking time in solitude, meditating, practicing mindfulness, mindful observation. And I don't dispute that belief. However, all of these are in the top 3 chakras. And their demons are illusion, attachment, and ignorance. So, if we ignore and do not upgrade the foundation chakras, or we are attached only to the top 3, or live in the illusion that we don't need to develop the first 3 or 4 chakras in order to have enlightenment and intuition, then we are putting the cart before the horse. I believe that if we do not develop the first 3 chakras, then there is a hindrance to reaching the higher levels of expression. In other words, if we don't deal with and shift our bodies out of the demons of the first 4 chakras, that are fear, guilt, shame, and grief, then we are limited in how far we can rise toward our greatest human potential of intuition and awakening. How many people do I know who are total brainiacs but are not in touch with their feelings or their bodies? Or those who have been wounded or traumatized and have not dealt with it, so they are stuck in minor and major ways in their lives. Wounding and trauma results in distortions in hard and soft addictions, such as addictions to food, to smoking, to alcohol, to hoarding, to spending, to gambling, to promiscuity, to talking, to low self-esteem, to staying busy and procrastinating at the same time, to zoning out. These in turn block our pathways to intuitive soul expansion. Being grounded in the safety of one's own beliefs, knowing your own process and purpose, and being able to live out one's will is the basis for higher levels of consciousness. A roof is only built on a house after the foundation and the walls are in place. Being intelligent is great, but being grounded in one's intuition is even greater. To put a fine point on this matter, that the body's importance to informing intuition, I refer to a scientist, Dr. Barnaby Dunn. He conducted a study in the UK. He measured how accurately subjects can count their heartbeats during timed intervals. Then he asked each of them to play a game, turning over cards from 4 different decks and winning or losing money based on the cards they drew. What the subjects didn't know was that the decks were rigged. 2 had more high-valued cards, and 2 were stacked with losers. As the subjects played, a sensor recorded their heartbeats and their changes. And after just a few rounds, the monitor showed a dip in the players' heart rates whenever they went near certain decks. The body, not the mind, became aware of the difference in the decks first. And Dunn found that some individuals who'd been better able to measure their own heart rates performed better in the game overall. In other words, their bodies informed their intuitive sense and they could feel it. Listen to your gut. It's our second brain, and clearly akin to soul's intuition. Get into your body. Become grounded in your feet, your legs. Open your torso. And one does not have to be physically fit to do this either. Just be where you're at. Grounding is most effectively done through movement and through intention. At the gym, I see people exercise without intention or connectedness. Be present to your body and your soul. Let go of negative emotions by sending them out the bottom of your feet. They clog up the spiritual machinery. Let go by charging and discharging the blockages. Be present to your heart and your soul. Get an adult coloring book. Create. Yes, listen to the quiet voice. Take time in solitude. Meditate. practice mindful awareness and observation, and learn about your chakras, the body mechanics, and grow a practice that helps remove distortions. Acquire soul expansion through a holistic, full body, mind, and spirit practice. Be with God as me. Let your soul know that you know it knows it knows through embracing your soulful, ever-expanding intuition. And so it is.